Alright guys and girls, this is Bagofsoup coming at you with another video. We've been doing a series the past week or two called Budget Hangars, with all the expensive dash bots and Inquisitors out there, trying to help some newer players with some hangars they can afford. We've already done a video on an all-silver hangar and an all-silver and workshop hangar, and now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some cheap substitutes. There's some really expensive bots like the dash bots, like an Lancelot or Lancelot, out there like a Fury that a lot of players want and just can't afford. So we're going to talk about some cheaper ways to get them. This is one of our first cheaper substitutes. The Galahad can be a great substitute for the Bagofsoup or the Dashbot Mark III. So let's talk about the Galahad versus the Bagofsoup. The Galahad goes 50 kilometers an hour, but only 40 with its shield down, while the Bagofsoup goes 40 kilometers an hour, but it has the 2 quick dashes once every 15 seconds. Now the Galahad has about a third less hit points than the Bagofsoup, and about a third less hit points on its shield. That's one weakness of the Galahad, plus it's also got about a third less firepower. 1 medium and 2 light guns versus the Bagofsoup with 3 mediums, so it's about a third less hit points, shield, and firepower. But it's got a better constant speed. But look at the difference in price here. We're talking about $20 worth of gold versus $225 worth of component pieces as it stands right now in October. Much bigger difference. Plus, with some of those daily specials, you can sometimes get a Galahad for 20 bucks and get almost 10 or 20 bucks of extra gold with it, which brings the price of the Galahad down to $5 to $10 in that real cash deal. Or you can just save up gold from daily specials to get it as well. But some of the benefits you can see here is with all the snipers out there, especially in Domination Mode, with Carnages, with Zeuses, with Natashas and Furies, with Zeuses or Geckos or Trebuchets, this guy will be great to be able to block and fire. Now both the Galahad and the Bagofsoup can shoot from the side completely. It can corner shoot. But what's nice is you can move the Galahad shield to 2 different positions, and you can still shoot straight ahead with the shield in place, which is great because you can't with the Bagofsoup. You've got to angle your shield and then be able to try to shoot after you have blocked some shots and go back and forth. Of course, the one issue with the Bagofsoup and the Galahad is they're still both resistant to rockets. They can get nailed by mid-range rockets or close-range rockets, so that's definitely a big deal. But the Galahad is a great substitute for a Dashbot Mark III if you don't want to pay an insane amount of money for it. Now we're talking about the Natasha. The Natasha is a really great substitute for the Fury, especially with the past few updates. The Natasha is a silver paid bot, but it used to move slower than the Fury, and now they move the same speed. They've gone up really high in speed since they first came out. They used to go 17 or 20 kilometers an hour, now they're up to 30 to 33. They got hit points buff, both of them, and they have equal speed and hit points, which is amazing that a silver paid Natasha would have the same kind of firepower, speed, and hit points, essentially that a 5,000 gold Fury would. I actually disagree that Pixonic would make the Natasha that great, because it's so much cheaper to get, but hey, if they want to keep the Natasha cheaper, that's fine. You can see the difference here. A 5,000 gold Fury cost about $40, or a Natasha's 1.7 million silver, which if you trade gold for silver is going to cost about 750 gold, or about $7.50. But let's be honest, you could probably earn enough silver to buy Natasha in anywhere from 8 to 10 battles, conservatively. At about 200,000 silver a battle, you've already got it in 8 or 9 battles. So it's essentially free with about a day's worth of pay. So most setups, I would say, you can use pretty equally on the Natasha or Fury. Like instead of 3 Trebs on a Natasha, or 3 Tempests, or 3 Zeus, do 2 Tempests and Molots, or 2 Trebs and Geckos, or 2 Zeus and Geckos. The only setup that really the Natasha loses out on is 2 Tridents and 2 CRV pins. The pins don't have quite the range of that 3rd Trident on a Fury, but otherwise, if you're not sure if you want a Fury or want to pay the 5,000 bucks, get a Natasha, start to level it up. It's a cheap substitute. You can see it if you like it. It's definitely moving faster than it used to. and got more hit points, so it's definitely a lot more viable on the battlefield, especially with a mid to long range meta like we have. The Fury is one of the top bots to own right now after the Griffin and Lance, so it makes sense if you want a Fury, get a Natasha. Of course, now we're talking about the Leo. The Leo is a really great substitute for the Lancelot. Now, of course, there are some differences we'll talk about, but this is definitely a great deal if you're thinking about getting a Lancelot. Hope that guy will get out of my way here. This is a great option. As you can see, the Leo speed at level 6 goes from 32 to 35. The Lancelot speed's slower at level 23 because it starts at level 1. But max speed of a Leo is 35, max speed of a Lance is 30, but the Lance has the boost that gets you up to 50 every 20 seconds. The Leo has way more hit points than a Lance, but the trade-off is the Lance has the physical shield. Of course, the Leo has the 1 heavy and 3 light guns. The Lance has the 1 heavy and 2 mediums. That pretty much equals out pretty well there. Terrans are more powerful than Magnums, but the Magnums don't have a reload at all. So you kind of get the idea here. And of course, the Lancelot is very popular right now with the Ansel and the 2 Terrans on the Lancelot. But here you could just get an Ansel, whether you buy one for 1,500 gold or win one in a chest, and put it on a Leo, because it is such a rocket meta out there. You know, your heavy hit points can deal with plasma coming at you. The Ansel can help defend against rockets, and then you've got 3 Magnums with no reload doing about 10,000 damage a second. So you can see me holding off both a Carnage Thunder and a Dashbot here with just the Leo Ansel. And I let my Ansel regenerate a little bit and just try to stay in that 300 to 350 range. And both these guys can't take me down, which is really great. So if you're thinking about a Lance, which once again, the top 3 meta bots right now are the Griffin, the Lance, and the Fury as of October 2017. That's not counting the Dashbots and Inquisitor, of course. Then the Leo would be a great substitute for the Lance. Of course, one of the weaknesses you'll see on the Leo is right here. If you go up against another Lancelot, you know, by the time you start to break through his shield with your Magnums, he's going to already have been able to take you down. Now, of course, I was wounded at the time, so if we went at each other full blast, it might be a little closer. And next match, we'll see that happen. Here, of course, we've got the Rogatka, which is a great substitute for the Kumiho, the Dashbot Mark 1. Now, what's nice is when the Dashbot Mark 1 was getting tested, it had some pretty big stats. And we said, hey, that's going to make the ROG obsolete unless you buff it. So Pixonic nicely buffed the ROG. It now runs the same speed as a Dashbot Mark 1. And it has the same hit points now as a Dashbot Mark 1. Almost as much as a Heavy Griffin. So really, the only difference between the two, the same firepower, same speed, same hit points, is just that one has 2 quick dashes and one has a jump. And that is it. The jump cooldown has also been lessened on the ROG, which is great. And in this kind of rocket meta, it's great that you can jump away or dash away out of trouble. Of course, right here, I see a Griffin hit me to the right. I jump left and hit those wires. Otherwise, I'd still be alive. But really, the ROG for 2,500 gold is a much cheaper substitute. $20 instead of a $225 Dashbot. So finally, we've got the Fujin. The Fujin is probably the best substitute for the Dashbot Mark II besides a Griffin. The Fujin's a lot closer, though, because they both have the Ansel shield, the Fujin and the Haechi. You can see the speed is very close between the two. The Fujin starts with higher speed. The big difference, of course, is the Fujin has to stop to activate its shield and regenerate, and the Haechi always has its shield up. Big difference there. But once again, there's going to be a big difference in price. Now, the other issue is that the Fujin shield is twice as strong and regenerates twice as fast as the Haechi. So that is a pretty good trade-off if you have to, is this Fujin's going to be a lot more rocket resistant. I love the Fujin Orkans because it is an Lancelot killer. 3 Orkans is the same power that a Haechi has or a Griffin or a Rhino has. And you've just seen me take out almost 2 full Lancelots with this guy. And still alive and doing well, so that's been really great. Now do notice while I'm playing that we've been down on bots the whole match. We had a guy that got disconnected or mech'd out or something real early. So we've always been down, whether it's 5 versus 6 or 4 versus 5. We've been down and bought the whole match, and that's why we've been losing pretty badly there. So not a count on our play, but just down a man. So the Fujin has done well with the Orkans. Got great firepower, and if you get hit by rockets, you put your shield up. Of course, the issue here is I'm surrounded at this point, 4 versus 6, by Lancelots on all sides. I was about to take that Griffin out. He was just going to shoot at my shield while I took him out. Fujin Orkans will definitely take out a Death Button Griffin. But the Fujin is definitely an acceptable substitute for the Haechi. Now you can see how well we did there with just that cheaper substitute special hangar. We were down a man, basically, who had probably got disconnected pretty early. And once again, we just couldn't keep up beacon-wise there. Some of our guys didn't push forward. But we did pretty good. So let's go ahead and take a look at our hangar. And once again, now, I'm not saying this is the cheapest hangar. We've already done an all-silver hangar and a silver and workshop hangar. This is just cheaper substitutes compared to some of the best bots in the game, like the Dashbot Mark 1, 2, and 3, the Lancelot, and the Fury. So you're still going to pay some money, but not nearly as much as we'll talk about. So that was our first match on Yamantau. Now we're jumping into a match on Shenzhen. Both Domination Mode, that once again, that keeps the Dashbots at bay, and you get to see who's coming at you. And we're going to jump in this time with the Leo. I'm going to put the stats up again on the screen if you missed them the first time. And just talk once again about how the Leo is a great substitute for the Lance. With the Lance, you could either do an Ansel Terrans, or on a Leo, an Ansel Magnums, or on a Lance, you could do a Thunder Orkans, and on a Leo, you could do a Thunder Pinatas. So once again, pretty close comparison. The Lance has the speed boost, which is great, but the Leo has the more all-around higher speed. And it doesn't have the frontal shield, but it does have the much bigger hit points, which is a big deal. So once again, they're pretty comparable in most situations. I'd say with the Leo, you'd just be a little more vulnerable to stalkers, or not stalkers, but snipers from a distance with Trebs or Geckos. But they'll eventually wear down a Lance. Now this is fun. We've got two full health bots here, the Ansel Leo and the Ansel Lance. And we're going to go head-to-head, and because my Magnums don't reload, and I've got two on my right side, I'm going to try some corner shooting against this other Lancelot. The last Lancelot we faced in the last match, I was already wounded, and we had no cover to hide behind. But here you can watch me using cover real carefully to start working on breaking his shield, get his back turned to my teammates, but it's pretty much one-on-one. And with just some clever corner shooting, I'm able to take out a 5,000 gold bot, a $40 bot here, with a 1.7 million silver bot, which is about $7.50, or play about 8 or 9 matches and you've got the silver. So we took out that whole Lancelot there, plus we're taking out another Leo because his rockets couldn't do much damage against my Ansel. And finally, we've got a Griffin jumping in. And what's nice is our Magnums don't reload, so we are still doing damage into him after we should already be dead. We took him down to low health as well. So we almost took out 1, 2, 3.5, almost 4 to 4.5 bots there with just that Leo Lancelot, or Leo Ansel. Now once again, we're talking about the Galahad being a good substitute for the Bulgasari, the Dashbot Mark III. Now of course, as you can see here, the Galahad is vulnerable to rockets. We know that, especially in the current meta in October 2017, but keep in mind, so is the Bulgasari. The Bulgasari is moving at 40 speed with 2 dashes, one every 15 seconds. The Galahad has 40 speed with the shield up, but 50 speed with the shield down. So once again, yes, it's vulnerable to rockets, but so is the Dashbot Mark III. So if you want Dashbot Mark III, you're going to have to watch for rockets anyway. At least with the Galahad, you get a choice, and it's $20 instead of $225, or you get one of those daily specials where you can buy it for a lot cheaper and get some free gold out of it, or win it in a chest, something like that. So I'm not saying it's one of the best meta bots out there, but it's definitely a cheap substitute for the Dashbot Mark III. Now, of course, we're jumping in to the Fujin. Keep in mind, watch the energy bar there. We're winning pretty handily here, but we have been and are going to start getting mech'd out on our team, as you can see, and that's going to start causing our team trouble. As great as we were doing, I think our players just couldn't hang long enough. The Fujin, of course, being that great substitute for the Haechi. They have about the same speed. Of course, the Haechi has the automatic shield. It doesn't have to stop to put up or regenerate. And it has the 2 quick dashes, which is huge, at least at this point in October 2017. The Fujin has going for it the same firepower. Maneuverability is great, and it's got the double powered Ansel shield and double regeneration. So it's definitely going to stand up to rockets better since you can't dash or run away as fast. We tried Orkan's last battle, and you can see even when I'm dealing with a Lancelot here, that Terrans can still be fantastic. You're doing over 20,000 damage a second with these Terrans, so in 8 seconds you can do 160,000 damage. That takes out a whole Lancelot from the side, it takes out a Griffin, and you've got that physical shield, or the Ansel shield to help as well. So definitely a great option with the Fujin. You can pretty much do anything a Haechi would set up and do. Terrans, Orkans, Columbus, and so forth. It does about the same. You can see this guy can't stop me as well. And he's got the Ansel shield and Orkans, which is better for us because our Ansel shield blocks his Orkans. His Ansel shield does not block our Terrans. And once we bust through his physical shield, he will be gone. We just have to stop and be very careful to load up our shield and to stay in shield mode so we can regenerate. But right now I know he's turned away from me, fighting my buddy here, so I'm able to take him out again and start reloading my guns. Now, I didn't see that carnage soon enough before I started to reload my guns. I probably could have taken him out very easily if I didn't have to reload. So we would have taken out another 2 or 3 bots there with our Fujin. So you just got to be real careful. He's very vulnerable to plasma up close, but the Fujin is a lot cheaper. 13,000 workshop points. You convert that to silver in about 20 days. You can earn one, but still going to be far cheaper than the Haechi. Now, of course, we talked about the ROG being a great substitute for the Dashbot Mark I. Of course, we're getting hit by sniper fire there, but he's got the same speed, the same hit points, same firepower. He's got a fast jump. By the time you hit the ground from your jump, it's only about 4 or 5 seconds before you can jump again, maybe even 3 seconds. So that's really great. Now, of course, if you look up on the scoreboard, you're going to see that we're down, 3 versus 6 players at this point. So as good as I'm doing with my ROG here of staying out of trouble and maneuvering using my speed, even able to take out this carnage here with a little bit of help, there's only so much you can do when you're playing 3 versus 6 at this point. So we just lost some guys. You can see me dodge that Lancelot right there and get back out of range. This is a great beacon runner, and if you can stay behind the blue team line, if you have some protection, you can take out a lot of guys and use that jump to get away from rockets. But once again, the match ended early. We ran out of guys. It was 2 versus 6 at the end there. But we still did pretty well considering that we were on the defense the second half of that match there. Let's take a look. Of course, we're using our cheaper substitute Hangar. Did better than pretty much anyone else except for Volo there on the red team. Barely beat us out. Almost had the same stats with everything. Let's take a look at his Hangar and see what he's running. Once again, the meta right now, what the best players are running that is not a Dashbot or Inquisitor would be the Lancelots, the Griffins, and the Fury, and that's what this guy's running. That's an expensive Hangar when you look at it. And then, of course, you can look at our Hangar. Our Hangar's not cheap, but it's definitely cheaper. And if you're talking about Dashbot and Lancelot and Fury substitutes, definitely a lot cheaper to go with our Hangar there. So I hope you enjoyed that look. Lost both matches, but we got top damage and league points both times. We had a lot of fun. And for pennies on the dollar there, a $20 bot versus a $225 bot. Or a bot you can earn free in 10 matches versus a bot that would take 5,000 gold. Or a bot that you can earn in 20 days of workshop points over a bot that's, once again, $225. Definitely a good deal. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what are some of the best substitutes, cheap substitutes for some of those more expensive bots out there. What setups would you run on them? And what you're running right now instead of running some of those more expensive things. If you're not a subscriber yet to the channel, please subscribe. And I hope if you like the video, you'll click like and pass it on to others. That's it. This is Bagofsoup, and I hope you have a great War Robots day.